Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I'm your host, Downwind Camera Guy, and in this episode, I'm sad to say this, but I don't think I'm actually going to keep my 5D Mark IV for very long. So let's go ahead and dive into this. First of all, this is a sit-down video talk. I'm kind of going through the thought process on why I don't plan on keeping the camera and what options possibly hybrid shooters like myself and you out there might have. And if you do hate this format, I recommend you just go ahead and leave the video right now and save yourself, like, I don't know how many 10 minutes of your life. So let's go ahead and kind of dive into a little bit more of what's going on. First of all, I just want to get this out of the way. I am building and working towards a pretty big, YouTube channel for camera equipment and gear. That's kind of the end goal, So when I decide to get equipment to review, I have to budget that into my what I have available. So I can't really review a product I don't have. And secondly, I don't really get products at all, period, from any camera companies or camera companies in general to send me product and equipment to review. I just don't. So what ends up happening is I have to budget that in. I sell old equipment in order to get new equipment in order to be able to do a review on those products. So when it came to the 5D Mark IV, it's $3,500, and that's a lot of money that kind of prevents me from being able to review maybe a couple different lenses or two different camera bodies. So $3,500 isn't just chump change. It's a lot of money on my end. And so I just wanted to kind of get that out of the way so you were aware of what's going on. At first, I was actually all set. I thought really hard on whether or not I wanted to keep the 5D Mark IV. However, the current specs that were mentioned about the camera, like most of you know, was a big letdown. So I'm very aware that this will be a solid camera, and for the most part, many users will be happy. I would be too, but hybrid shooting has become so important to my routine. Then just having a camera for stills just doesn't cut it for whatever I do. And I have like my notes on here, and so I'm kind of looking this way, so I do apologize. So the crazy 1.74 crop factor is what immediately stood out. I could live with the 120 FPS at 720p. I could live without the 4K at 60 frames per second. And I could even live with the insane bit rates of the Motion JPEG. But the crop factor was the tip of the iceberg. That basically said Canon just couldn't get it together. So for a videographer, you would buy the 5D full frame, and that's what we did for the 5D Mark II and 5D Mark III. We wanted the full frame look with our lenses, and you'd expect full frame for your video, but I just don't understand why Canon couldn't find a way to make it work internally. I'm sure they had their logistical reasons because of heat and heat dissipation and the overall package of the camera, but you had 4 years of development time, 3 to 4 years of development time since the release of the 1DC, which was very similar in that design, but you couldn't come up with a solution to give us a full frame recording at 4K. You had to crop it into the actual sensor. So you already know what's up. What do we do now if you're in the same camp that I'm in? So these are just some things I thought about, and I said if you primarily focus on photography, wedding, and events, honestly, I would stick with the 5D Mark III, if not pick up another copy. Save that money that you were going to spend on it, getting lenses and even better lighting equipment. Plus, if you do want 4K, I think if you just plan on shooting a little bit of video here and there, consider getting the Sony Alpha A6300 with a adapter and using your current lenses with it. I think that would be a great compromise with being able to get access to high quality video and still keep your 5D Mark III or possibly 5D Mark IV for stills. So if you like me and you hybrid shoot, I was debating, it's like, look, it's $3,500 for the 5D Mark IV. I can get, with the EDU discount through B&H Photo, I can literally get an A7S Mark II and another Alpha 6300 for the price of one 5D Mark IV. And those are two powerhouse cameras that I could get for the price of one 5D Mark IV, which is insane. So the pundits, right? This is just some thoughts going through. Like I said, I really thought hard on how to justify the 5D Mark IV. And like I said, I personally don't have a problem with the camera as a photography tool. My issue just lies on the video end of things. I would love to keep the camera for sports and even portraits. However, Sony is literally inching its way there to the point where, it does everything that we need it to do. I'm sure once I have the camera, the 5D Mark IV in my hands for the review, I'll definitely enjoy all the latest features and all of this, but it's still a moot point because of the lack of video features that we're looking for. So this is the question I ask myself: does Canon really care? I've been thinking, does Canon really care about the amateur enthusiast and semi-pro market, which I kind of fall into? And I think Canon has really fallen on its laurels of accepting that people will flock and buy the next iteration of their flagship 5D. The truth is, Canon hasn't been paying attention to the competition. They might be paying attention to the plethora of photographers, but they don't think about what the competition is producing and bringing to the table, and what can Canon do to compete at that level. So Canon's refresh cycle is 3 to 4 years. And then you got Sony, you got Nikon. Nikon's in the game too, and you got Fuji and all these other individuals, and they'll be producing 1-2 bodies within that same time frame. And they're gonna definitely end up leapfrogging the technology that's in the Canon camera right now. So the future, we need to realize that this, and this already, it's more the manufacturers, that the technologies that they put in will definitely change the game for the camera industry. The use of EVFs, new autofocusing technologies, and high quality video is beginning to be very important to many new shooters. In addition, just even transferring files and getting them to social media is a big deal, which I will give to Canon for implementing into their camera. Now, I don't know how well that Wi-Fi Connect NFC is going to work, but it is good that they're working towards that direction. So, is Canon going to hurt from this? I truly, the thing I recommend is this: if the specs of the camera doesn't appeal to you, don't get it. Ignore it and don't buy Canon. Just stick with the current model you have. Try and show Canon that because they're not really putting the best effort into the demands of its users, consider Nikon, Fuji, and Sony if it's even within your possible domain. I really personally feel that this was and I don't want to say it this way, but it's kind of like a big FU to its users who have been loyal to the Canon brand. And by showing our personal distaste and lack of effort on Canon's part, I really do hope that it'll actually start listening, not just to its users, but also to what the competition and the market is producing. So, my plans for the review. I do plan on getting the 5D Mark IV and using it in a variety of sports shooting scenarios, and possibly some portrait scenarios as well. I want to stress to you that I absolutely love the Canon system and their workflow in photography. It's just they missed the mark terribly on the video front. After a month's review on the camera, I may put up the camera for sale on eBay used, depending on how I feel about the camera afterwards. I know I'm going to get a few of you out there, and they're going to tell me, just go and buy a video camera. And my response to you is that really nobody cares what you think, because you don't know what we're thinking in our heads here. We want that compact system, that camera that does both on both ends, and we want it to do it well. Again, we get it already. Buy a proper video camera, blah, blah, blah. We just want the DSLR to be able to record video well. Is that so much to ask for after 7 to 8 years? Really, really think about that. 7 to 8 years, and they're still struggling to get it right. Folks, I don't know everything, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on the Canon 5D Mark IV. And if you missed any of my last videos, just either consider subscribing, and you can go and find the rest of my videos there. I do have a Sony 7200 G Master review coming out. I did shoot some football, and more of it will come out as the day goes by. And if you are interested in the reviews for the upcoming 5D Mark IV when I receive it, consider subscribing and stay tuned for that. And with that said, I'm your host, Alvin Camera Guy, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye.